Give me control of Manchester United's transfer strategy for the next week, and the first thing I'm doing is going to Copenhagen and making an offer of between 15 to 17 or 18 million pounds, plus 2 to 5 million pounds in add-ons for their young Danish central midfielder Victor Froholt. Because I think statistically and from the eye test, the 19-year-old has a skill set to be considered a Frankie de Jong Regen, the player that a lot of Manchester United fans want Toby Collier to be, the perfect modern-day central midfielder, who stylistically is a perfect fit alongside Sekou Kone in a midfield double pivot in the long term. The reason I prioritise a move for him is that he'll probably go somewhere very soon. Frankfurt had reportedly agreed personal terms with Victor Froholt, but were only offering 14 million euros plus 3 million euros in add-ons and weren't prepared to meet Copenhagen's 24 million euro, 20 million pound valuation. And so at this stage it seems like they've pulled out of the deal, but Tottenham are also reportedly interested, and I can't see him being a Copenhagen player for long. And so in this video I'm going to show you this plot graph showing that Froholt ranks incredibly high for these two key metrics, then explaining why I consider him a stylistic regen of Frankie de Jong, why Froholt and Sekou Kone's skill sets would work so well together, before telling you about another young central midfielder who United could sign fairly cheaply from South America, who resembles a modern day version of Gennaro Gattuso. But before I break down all of that, if you want to check out any cheap, good quality football jerseys, go over to jerseyfifa.co. They've got a variety of different current season and retro jerseys, including the new Manchester United releases for the upcoming season. They sent me over this Manchester United 2006-2007 white away shirt with Ronaldo 7 on the back, as well as this Zidane Juventus shirt from the 1990s as well. If you use code ALANDERS at checkout, you'll get a 10% discount, so I'll leave it linked in the description and in the comment section below. So this graph shows every central midfielder playing in Scandinavia plotting ball carrying frequency against defensive metrics such as defensive duels per 90, percentage of defensive duels won, and possessions won per 90. And what you're able to see is that 19-year-old Victor Froholt sits as an outlier in all of these graphs, having a higher ball carrying frequency alongside higher defensive output than pretty much all of the rest of the central midfielders in Scandinavia. Now he doesn't sit as high as an outlier when we switch ball carrying frequency for dribbles per 90 or dribble success rate, but he is still positioned over to the far right of the graph, showing that Froholt is not just a high volume ball carrier, but also someone who excels when it comes to winning the ball back as well. And the eye test backs this up, as Froholt for his age is already very physically and athletically developed. He's robust and tenacious when entering 50-50s, physical contests, or looking to get to loose balls. Froholt currently leads all of the Danish Superliga midfielders in defensive duels won percentage, and also ranking third for the volume of defensive duels he's won, also having a quite astute reading of the game and being able to move quickly over shorter distances in order to make interceptions, but is in possession where the comparisons with Frankie de Jong can be seen, as he is highly technically competent with his ball control in tight areas, using his quick footwork and fluid movement to twist and turn out of pressure, whilst also having a dynamic burst of acceleration and a fearless mentality with the ball at his feet, which enables him to drive forward through the centre of the pitch, shifting the ball quickly from one foot to the other before driving the ball into the space ahead, in a similar way to Frankie de Jong's trademark ball carrying style. And like de Jong, Froholt also has the press resistance to receive the ball under pressure in the build-up phase, get the ball under control instantly, before using a drop of the shoulder to turn out, before then carrying the ball powerfully into the space. Now it should be said that at present, Froholt is very much more of a ball carrier than a progressive passer, which can be seen when we plot his accurate passes into the final third, against his progressive passes adjusted for possession, when compared against every other central midfielder in Scandinavia, with Froholt ranking a lot lower for both of these metrics, and this is why I do think he needs to be positioned alongside more of a progressive passing central midfielder like he is with Thomas Delaney at Copenhagen, and this is why I think a midfield double pivot of Froholt and Sekou Kone would be a perfect stylistic match, as whilst Froholt is an all-action, ball-carrying, box-to-box midfielder who needs to be given the license to push further forward with the ball or without it when pushing up between the lines, before looking to break into dangerous positions in and around the box, Sekou Kone is far more of a deeper line playmaker, who does have the press resistance and ball-carrying ability to progress the ball forward with his carries and dribbles, but primarily he specialises in threading incisive passes through the centre of the pitch into players between the lines. Both Froholt and Kone excel athletically and physically, being a midfield pairing who are very front foot and assertive when it comes to defensive duels and getting to loose balls in the centre of the pitch, as well as being capable of covering ground by shifting across the pitch and tracking opposition movements from deep down the channels. Now, Froholt does still need to improve his vision and the execution of his progressive passing. In order to add variety, set alongside other attributes such as his aerial ability, he should be able to significantly improve in these areas over the coming years. See, a lot of United fans seem to see Toby Collier as this style and quality of player, but for me his style of play is far too safe, especially his passing, whilst not having the same sort of power and technical ability in his ball carrying as we see with either Froholt or Kone, and given that he's already 21, probably still only top half championship level and could be sold for around £10 million I think this summer, selling Collier to fund a move for Froholt is a sort of smart transfer upgrade that United should be making. If signed, Froholt would probably benefit from a loan to a mid to lower table Bundesliga club, but I do also think on current ability he's good enough to be used in a squad depth role for United next season. Long term, I think Froholt's high volume ball carrying and ball winning ability gives him elite level potential. I don't see his development being as quick as players like Jude Bellingham or Adam Wharton, but like Lucas Bergvall at Tottenham, Hugo Larsson at Frankfurt and also Kone at United, I think by the time Froholt is in his mid-20s, he has the potential to be among the best central midfielders in the Premier League and Europe as a whole, being very stylistically similar to someone like Elliot Anderson. I think £15 to £20 million is a top end of fees that would make it worth United taking a chance on him, and I do think he is a better option than Arden Jashari at around £25 to £30 million. And there are a number of other young players that United could look to pick up for United, or at least sold at a substantial profit. Franjo Ivanovic from Union SG for around £10 to £12 million, Pio Esposito from Inter Milan, a bit more expensive at 18 to 20 million, and Kendry Paez, who would be a dream signing but a lot more expensive, probably at over £30 million, are players that I have spoken about in recent videos, which will be linked in the eye above. But a cheaper young player that I think United should be looking at is Tigre's 20-year-old Argentinian destructive central midfielder, Lorenzo Scipione, who both Benfica and Olympiacos have recently shown interest in, with a fee in the region of £5 million plus a 25% sell-on clause being talked about. Scipione is very much a soul-destructive ball winner at this point in his career anyway. His stocky build and robust tackling style is very Gattuso or Agate-like, with Scipione being very good in defensive duels in the centre of the pitch, but also quick and agile enough to move over into wider areas, wherefrom he's highly competent when defending in 1v1s in space, with very good body positioning and a patient tackling approach, and his ball winning ability can be seen on this graph when we plot defensive duels won percentage against the volume of duels won per 90. For all central midfielders in South America this season, you can see that Scipione ranks very highly for the volume of defensive duels he's won, but also for the percentage of duels he wins as well, sitting towards the top right side of this graph. He also ranks over to the far right of the graph, leading the pack for interceptions adjusted for possession against possessions won per 90, further showing his ball winning ability. At present, he does need to improve in possession. He is capable of retaining and circulating possession efficiently, and also does have an incisive forward pass, a switch of play, or a direct pass into the front line in his locker, and when we plot progressive actions per 90 against progressive passes adjusted for possession, we can see that while Scipione doesn't rank as highly as he does for his ball winning metrics, he still sits as a leader of the main pack, well above the median for both metrics. Now, he isn't really a ball carrier, definitely someone who's better when sitting deep behind the play as an anchor man, circulating possession from deep, and like a Gattuso or a Mascherano, being someone who excels in the rest defence, sitting behind the ball and being ready to move across into wider areas in order to halt attacks in 1v1 situations, rather than pushing forward and looking to be a creative threat in the final third. Now, I don't rate him as highly in terms of current ability or potential as Froholt or Sekou Kone, given his more limited skill set, but like Agate, I do think he could develop into a very good ball winner in a more limited role, and for £5 million if signed and then sent out on loan, within the next 2 years, I could see him being a very good squad option for United or even sold on for significant profit. So let me know what you think of Froholt and Scipione and any other young players you think United should be interested in this summer. And if you do want to check out any cheap, good quality football jerseys, go over to jerseyfifa.co. You can use code Atlantis at checkout for a 10% discount. It will be linked in the description and comment section below. And if you want to check out any of the plot graphs or read any of my articles, you can get a 7-day free trial for my Patreon, so I'll leave it linked on the end screen now.